Welcome. Hope everybody's doing well. Today we are, as you can see, in the snow. There was some snow last night coming into this morning, and this is the first snow of the year. Now, my mom's birthday is in the middle of November, and my grandfather always used to say that it always snows before her birthday, and well, he was right this year, once again. So yeah, with the snow coming, winter is coming, and so less Bando content. As I said last week, I'm trying to figure out what I'm going to do with this channel over the winter, and this is one of those little experiments where we're going to see how you like it. Today I'm going to be reviewing my Subaru that has been featured on the channel, and I'm also going to be comparing it to a brand new Subaru Impreza that I got as a loaner when I took this thing to the dealer. So I'm going to put them back to back. I'm going to show you the loaner first. I recorded that like a month or so ago, and I was like, well, I'll keep this in my back pocket for when I run out of content. And so I'm going to show you that first. I'm going to time travel back, review that, and then I'm going to time travel back to the present right here, and then I'm going to take you through my 60,000 mile 2021 Subaru Crosstrek that, if you've watched the channel, you know is kind of an off-road weapon, and is just you know, I mean, it does what I need it to do. So I'm very happy with it, and I think it's kind of cool. So with that said, enjoy the lack of snow times for this next segment, and we'll see you in a bit. All right, now I'm going to walk you through some key differences between this Impreza and my Crosstrek. Number one, no button right here. No button. This button is traction off. They don't let you do it at all. At all. Simple traction off. They don't let you do it. It's messed up. Is this it? Oh no, it's fused. Okay. This, not sure why. Well, okay. Yep. Electronic parking brake. This is supposed to be X mode. I guess that's also blank in the Crosstrek. Whatever. Electronic parking brake. I mean, since it's automatic, whatever. That's, you know, it's not. You never use the parking brake, but these are, you know, you never really know when they're on. And they're just kind of a gimmick. I don't like them. Enormous screen. That's a gimme. The high beams. Now, the high beams in my Crosstrek are just like they're on and then they're off when you know, but this, it's like push on, pull off, which is like, I don't know, it just seems like they're making it more complicated than it has to be. If they want to make it luxurious, then have it be the same thing either, you know, both ways. I remember in my old Volvo, you know, it used to be like that on and off, you know, which made it more like fluid. Hold on, let me just start this thing up, get the wheel turned so that you can see, and also so you can hear this thing. Sounds pretty good. It's more muted than the Crosstrek for sure, but it's still, you know, still has that Subaru Boxer snarl. We got the paddle shifters right here. You know, if you've never driven a manual, they'll fool you, I guess. Maybe. You know, I'm sure some people were fooled by Bernie Madoff. Sorry, this thing's so annoying. Just reset the thing. Okay. Yeah, but it's just, you know, this is really nice material. Very nice material. But yeah, I mean, so you can use the paddles. They're usable. I use them in the engine brake a little bit. If you think about it, you know, you just smack it on over into manual and then down, and then it does the thing. And it's got enough power, the engine braking's pretty powerful. But, you know, most people will never use it, and you shouldn't really use it when you're trying to drive the thing sportily. It doesn't really make it drive any better. It just, like, makes you feel better about yourself. I don't know. Yeah, so if you want to shift your own gears, get a real manual. That's my personal opinion. But the fact that they have these is nice. You know, the fact they give you the option, I guess, is nice. And, you know, you can use them for engine braking. I love these switches, because these switches, you put it in low, it stays on all winter. That's another. Now the Crosstrek, if you weren't cheap like me and got the top trim, then you would have gotten any Subaru heated seat has these, other than a few exceptions from different model years. But just about any Subaru has these, and this is the best way to do heated seats. You know, I mean, a lot of car companies today put them on the screen. Oh, it's so luxurious, it's on the screen. No, it's trash, because, you know, then you have to manually turn them on every time you turn the car on. It's a hassle. You know, it's a lot of snake oil. But, you know, Subaru's doing it right with the hard switches that are Very satisfying to click into place, and yeah, so they're killing it with the heated seat game. Sunroof, I mean, it's a sunroof. It works the way that it's supposed to. I miss having a sunroof, and yeah, that's pretty cool. These are very nice seats. I quite like the I like the red. I would never pay for seats like this, but you know, this is a loaner car, so that's how it is. Yeah, 12 volt, okay. Hugely roomy center console. My Crosstrek has like a bump taken out for some plugs. They just put all the plugs out here, which is just way better. And back seats. Okay, by the way, the Harman Kardon, okay. This has the upgraded Harman Kardon stereos. I think it's like it's a several $1,000 option. I don't exactly know how much, but it's a lot of money. And honestly, it's a decent sound system in here. I don't think it's like that much better than my Crosstrek, which I paid nothing for. It was the standard sound system. The Crosstrek is the base of the base of the base. So I'm not sure, I don't know. I'm not sure it's worth it for it. They don't sound bad, but it's just like, okay, yeah, these are speakers and they sound good, you know, but it's like, I don't know. I'm not sure it's worth the money. That's just my 2 cents on it. You got the cargo cover here, and a little privacy cover. You can stretch it over, you know. A lot of hatchbacks have that, you know. Yeah, I mean, it's a back seat. It is what it is, guys. Like, I don't know what to tell you. Looking at the car from this angle, I mean, it does look quite nice. I'm not a fan of how big the tablet is. It's just an excuse for companies to remove features. I like that the Crosstrek is smaller, but at the same time, this isn't nearly as bad as a lot of companies are doing. I mean, Tesla just puts a fucking iPad in there and is like, good luck. I fucking hate that. This, at least, you've got climate buttons with the defrost, and you've got a volume and tuning knob, and you've got your hazards, and you know, and your heated seats that are at least off of that, and you know, you got all sorts of like volume controls and like your cruise control. All that is still physical buttons. That's something that, you know, car companies are moving away from because they're cheap and because they can be cheap and look futuristic by putting everything on a screen, but it just makes the user interface absolutely trash. Everybody hates it. Other than people who are on a hype train, and you know, I said what I said on that. Yeah, moving on. Nice wheels. They look fine. They look sporty, you know, whatever. It's the RS. Ooh, the RS. Paint looks nice. It's just your standard white. Personally, I like fun, interesting colors. That's why I got the crazy blue-gray on my Crosstrek. But I mean, you know, paint looks fine. You know, yeah. Yeah. I mean, honestly, this thing is quick. This thing's really quick. It's way quicker than I was expecting, because when you think Impreza, it's like, okay, little commuter car. It'll be good in the snow, but it's just a snow commuter. No, this thing can move. This thing can really move, and normally I do not have this much fun in an automatic, and it's quick, and it's tight in the corners too. I forgot, because I used to own a sedan and I loved it, and then I got the Crosstrek because I was like, well, my sedan was fast. It was a manual Volvo from the mid 2000s, and the thing was just a rocket. It was a good car for a high schooler to have, and you know, then I got a little older and I got the Crosstrek, and that's slow, but it can off-road. And I'm glad it can off-road. As you've seen on this channel, I use it to off-road. That's why I got that over the Impreza. But you know, being back in this thing, or being in this thing and being back in a low car, I understand why people want low cars and why specifically performance driving happens in low cars, because the center of gravity, those 4 inches that you're closer to the ground, you're just way more planted to the road. And so I really, this thing handles like a dream on back roads and through corners, and it's just a really fun car to zip around on some paved back roads. Once you hit dirt, the Crosstrek blows this thing out of the water, just because you are so much more confident. I wouldn't take this thing on, I mean, I would take this thing on some dirt roads, but like, I send the Crosstrek on dirt roads because, like, yeah, I got 8 inches of ground clearance, who cares, you know, just toss it in. But this, you know, you got to baby it a little more, because even though it'll have traction all day, it's all-wheel drive, it's still just a normal ride height hatchback, and so you got to be cognizant of that, and you've got to not mess it up. So that's overall this. If you are too cheap for a WRX, or if you are not committed to being an enthusiast driver and you don't want to get a CVT WRX, sorry, just thought about the CVT WRX. Yeah, if you don't want to drive manual, but you still want something that's fun and you want a nice little commuter that'll also be good in the snow, get this thing. It's quite nice. It's probably crazy expensive. I mean, it's the RS trim. This thing's probably pushing 30 grand, because I mean, these, you know, it really is just extortionate out here with the new car prices. But when you sit in it, it's quite nice. So this is the Impreza portion of the video. I'm going to compare this to my 60,000 mile Crosstrek. Hold on, let's just see. Just put it in accessory. Let's just see. No, can I? Come on, pull it up. Yep, 64 miles, 64 total miles. My car has 1,000 times more miles than this thing does. So, you know, oh, reminder, look in the rear seat. The last thing I will mention about this car, and I'll make this thing shut up again, make the thing reset, trick the computer. It's got a bunch of safety stuff. This thing right here, this eyesight system. This thing's very annoying because every time you leave the lane, it'll go, and it's, you know, it's actually less annoying of a lane keep than I've seen in the past. My grandma's car, it just yells constantly, and I mean, she's, you know, she's an old woman who rides the white line, so if you're riding in her car, it's just constant, and that thing is loud. So, you know, it's not as bad as that. They keep it quiet, but especially when you're, I mean, like I said, it's a fun car to send into the back roads. You're going to be crossing lanes a little bit if it's safe to do so. In many cases it is, if you can see far enough, you know, you're crossing the lines a little bit to get a good line, and it's just yelling at you. It's like, yeah, I know. And then there was another case where somebody was turning off and I was gonna go around them, but the car didn't know I was gonna go around them, so it like had like the, oh, there's somebody in front of you, it like auto braked and it shut my music off. Or no, it didn't auto brake, it just had like, it just freaked out, shut the music off, and I panicked. I was like, wait, what's going on? Like, but like, if that alarm hadn't gone off, I just would have done my maneuver as normal and it would have been fine. So it just, you know, it honestly really does get in the way. The seatbelt alarm, this is only 2 years newer than the Crosstrek, and the seatbelt alarm probably is about 20% louder. Now I'm the type, I always wear my seatbelt in the car. It's just the smart thing to do. But the fact that car companies nowadays are just wanting to be more and more nanny-like, and that's really the government that's pushing that. But I just have so much contempt for that attitude in automotives, where it's like, just look, I'm not a fucking child, okay? I don't need to be told to put on my seatbelt. You want to give a little reminder, be like, hey, remember, you know? But if you're gonna be like, and I actually, it wouldn't even start my music today, because, you know, a lot of the time I'll put the seatbelt on while I'm like rolling out of the driveway. It wouldn't even start my music. It's like, dude, like, no, that's, you know, I don't know, I have absolutely no respect for, whether it's the policymakers or the car companies. Whoever's doing that, they're the scum of the earth, and you know, they should lose their jobs, because it just makes it, you know, the fun of being in a car, and they're trying to take away the freedom of being in a car, where they want the computer to just tell you how to do everything. And I just despise that attitude, and yeah, so that's just my personal opinion on that. So you can tell that this car is going more in that direction, but, you know, so long as you can tune that out, then you can mash the pedal, and this thing's fun, and it's a good commuter. I'm sure it's safe, you know. I understand that this is the direction that all new cars are heading, and with that said, I will be buying more old cars. That is really all I have to say on it. So I'm gonna compare this to the Crosstrek, of some of the features, some of the things that are similar. I mean, just looking at it, the steering wheel is very similar. You know, just the way that the whole thing is laid out, very similar. There's some things that are different. We got the piano black here, the gloss black, which is already looking dirty. Yeah, I'm getting a call from the dealer. They want it back. Anyway, that's gonna do it. I'll show you the Crosstrek in a bit. All right. So here it is. Here's the beast. You can see I've got some very advanced license plate covers with the just safety vests. This thing's had some use. And notice we got a little we'll go fog light cover there that is off because very sad. I hit a raccoon last summer and then I got a new part for it. It was like 35 bucks. Or no, it was like 20. It was not a crazy amount. And then I guess I didn't put it on right because then over this summer it flew off, and so it is somewhere on the Pennsylvania Turnpike between Downingtown and Harrisburg. So yeah, it's like that. I took it to the dealer and they were like, yeah, it's 55 bucks now. And I'm like, how is it $55 for a plastic, purely aesthetic piece? Like, how stupid do you think I am? So that's going to be how it is. I haven't been pulled over for it. I don't think I will be. Because again, it's not a safety thing. It's just how it looks. But anyway, yeah. So this is the Crosstrek. I really like this color. This is one of the base model colors. You don't have to pay extra for it, but I think it looks better than the colors that you have to pay extra for. So I'm very glad I ended up with this color. Overall, I just think this thing looks kind of sharp. You know, I like how it's a little bit boxier than the redesign. I feel like they went a little bit too, they tried to make the lines a little bit too smooth and curvy, and I don't think it ended up great. I prefer this generation to the now current generation of Crosstrek. But, I mean, this thing is, you can see it's got a decent chunk of ground clearance. For a hatchback, that's excellent ground clearance. I've measured, this thing sits 8 inches off the ground up front. And so it's, you know, it's a formidable little off-roader. I mean, I really only take it on stuff like this, a little bit more advanced. Really the worst roads I take it on, you've seen on the channel. A lot of those ATV trails that we get real creative with, getting down in there. But getting in here, you can see that it looks remarkably similar. I mean, you can tell that it's, you know, been worn in. You can tell by my floor mats that I haven't cleaned and the straw wrapper I've got hanging out down there. But, you know, the steering wheel look, it's like, you almost feel like you're in the same vehicle. But there are some key differences. Well, you know, so the wheel is basically the same. And a lot of the other stuff is basically the same too. I mentioned in the last segment how this little button here, it's just a blank button in the Impreza. They don't let you take traction off in the new Impreza. And I do know why, and it's for safety. And it's because when you press this button, you can drift this thing. Well, it's technically a power slide. It's not really a drift. But with the Subaru all-wheel drive, how most all-wheel drive systems work is it's front-wheel drive most of the time and then asks the back for help very politely when it gets a little bit of slip. Nah. Subaru all-wheel drive does not mess with that. It's 50-50 all-wheel drive unless there's wheel slip. So it's just always all-wheel drive. But, like most cars, it's front-heavy. So if you go onto a snowy parking lot, drop this thing in second gear, turn the wheel in and floor it with the traction off, you'll get 85, 90 degrees of rotation all day and still have plenty of traction. So with the wintertime coming in, I'm very excited for this because, I mean, the first storm that's a little bigger than this, I'll be able to drift this thing all over ski resort parking lots, you know, American Legion parking lots, high school parking lots that I don't even go to. But if I see a big parking lot and it's snowy, I'm pulling this thing in. But yeah, so I'm a little bit disappointed, that they took away the traction off for the new Impreza. But as I covered in the last segment, car companies are just trying to take all the fun out of driving because, I mean, at the end of the day, that probably is the safer thing. But I think that if you are going to drive safely, then you're going to drive safely. And if you're not, then that's your choice. That's my personal take on it. You can disagree with that if you want, but I just have so much contempt for new cars today that just take all of the fun out of driving. But this thing, look at that. No eyesight, no safety things, no yelling at you for going out of the lane, no, you know, none of that. You can see, I've got the 6-speed. I'm a manual fanatic, and I highly recommend everybody to get a manual car if you have the opportunity to, because it's just, you know, at this point, it takes the same amount of mental energy to drive manual as it does automatic, but it's just more engaging and more fun. That's just my personal opinion. Yeah, so basic 6-speed. It's got the little ring to let you get into reverse so that if it's down, you can't get in there, and so you know you're going into 6th. Or if it's up, you can't. Oh, you can get into 6th. Okay, well, whatever. Yeah. So, yeah, but this thing is, it's very, it's a very forgiving clutch. I highly recommend if you are learning how to drive manual and you see one of these things on Facebook Marketplace or something, pick it up, you know, because it's a very light clutch and it has hill start assist. So when you let off the brake on a hill, it'll hold the brake for you while you get that hill start done. Anybody who drives manual or who even has heard their parents talk about driving manual or anything like that knows that the hardest part is starting on a hill. And this thing just makes it very easy for you. So I highly recommend that. No sunroof. No fancy seats. This is the base of the base of the base, and that's how I like it because I didn't have to pay extra for, you know, I'd like the sunroof. I would like the sunroof, and I would like the heated seats. I did the like ASMR thing of clicking these things. This is the blank switch where the heated seats would be, so that's kind of sad. At least this one's not blank, like I mentioned. But yeah, I mean, again, you can see that this is a much smaller screen than in the Impreza. There's less functionality to it, but I don't really care because there's a bunch of hard buttons. You can still navigate with hard buttons, which is just, especially when you're trying to, you know, screw with music while you're driving, which you ideally shouldn't be doing this. Sometimes, you know, that's how it goes. If the phone disconnects from the Bluetooth or something, that you can just press the buttons. But you can also see this thing's very dirty. Honestly, I should have cleaned this thing out before making a whole video on it, but whatever. So you can see that, yeah, it's dust. It's yeah. So that's kind of rough. But you know, yeah, that's I like this size screen. You don't need a bigger screen than this. This is big enough that your backup camera is still pretty good. I'll show you the backup camera. Why not? But like, you don't need anything bigger than this, you know. Okay, the safety vest is in the way, but you can see like that's a completely acceptable backup camera size. You don't need a bunch of, you know, I don't know. I feel like the screens in the new cars are just so big that it's like, what are we doing here? Let me just make sure my music doesn't turn on. But yeah, I mean, it's a pretty basic interior, but it's comfortable seats. And I mean, looking in the back, same idea. I'm not going to show you in the trunk because it's kind of a mess, but this thing's got a substantial amount of trunk space. I've been able to move in and out of multiple college apartments using solely this car, and that's with a mini fridge. So, I mean, it's really a very usable car. For what I use it for, going off-road and stuff like that, it is very usable. One thing I will say about it, it is slow. This is a slow car. Now, it's not like dangerously slow. You can merge onto the highway. But I mean, other than in first gear, this thing does not pull. Second gear, you got a little bit. It's not a fast car. That's not why I didn't buy it to be a fast car. So I knew that going in. But that's one thing that the Impreza has over this hugely is that thing is quick. And I also mentioned how on-road the Impreza handles better because it is lower to the ground. But I mean, I have this so that I can off-road with it. So that's a trade-off that I gladly take. I have ski claws for it. They're not on right now, but you can put crossbars, ski claws, and so yeah, this is just the ultimate winter adventure vehicle, summer adventure vehicle, everything. This is, in terms of an all-purpose vehicle that checks all the boxes, I feel like this is about as close as you can get. It gets decent gas mileage on road. Right now I'm at like 26.8 because I've been kind of driving like a doofus lately, but you can get 30 if you really baby this thing, especially in the summer. So, I mean, it gets good mileage, but you can off-road it. It's got a lot of space, but it's manual, so it's still kind of fun. So even though it's not sporty, you could be fooled now and again, especially if you're on roads like this. Those low gears on roads like this, just pulling up hills and stuff, I mean, it honestly is pretty good. So, I mean, if you're in the market for like a fast car, skip. No way. But if you're just in the market for something that will do the maximum number of things for you, I highly recommend this vehicle. And so, yeah, I mean, it's bare bones. I'm not going to spend as much time on it as I did going into all the little features of the Impreza just because there's not as many of them, you know? But that's okay because this thing does what it needs to do. It doesn't get in your way with the safety stuff. and overall, it is just a wonderful car. So I hope you have enjoyed this review. I will, well, okay. We'll fire it up because this thing sounds like an angry lawnmower. And I honestly love the way this thing sounds. Whines a little when it's in neutral, but this thing I think sounds pretty good. It's kind of like an angry lawnmower, but it's just such a unique sound. And when you drive it, it sounds, it's just like, I don't know, something about the low hum, you know? I'll just give it a little bit of a rev. I think that thing sounds pretty good. It's not fast, so don't let that fool you. Don't let that sound fool you. This thing is not fast. But I honestly think it just sounds really cool. I think it sounds super unique. You've probably heard this car on the channel before, and I mean, I know I have, editing it up, and yeah, it's just very unique. I like it. So that's that on that, basically. Bare bones Crosstrek, no fog lights, especially not now. No sunroof, no heated seats, no safety, you know, babysitters yelling at you. And so, very, very good car. Highly recommend. All right, I hope you enjoyed. I'll be back next week. I'm gonna have more Bando content. We're not gonna, you know, transition to a car channel or anything like that. We're not, you know, this is just a little one-off thing, unless you guys really enjoy this content. But I mean, honestly, this is just my car, so I don't really have a whole lot of more stuff on deck for stuff like this. I was thinking next week I might do a little bit of a highlight reel of just a supercut of my favorite Bando stops of the year so far, and see if I can put something together for that. Maybe of like Owen falling through the floor and, you know, some other like best moments like that. So let me know what you think down in the comments below. Thank you so much for watching, and we will see you next week. Thanks, bye. One last thing before I go. Those safety vests that I put on the license plates, I then left where I was filming to go down to this boat ramp to film the intro, and totally left them on the license plates. But they didn't fall off, both of them. They're both fine. So no safety vests were harmed in the making of this video, but I'm a little bit of a goofy goober. All right, that's it. Thanks, guys.